Hello, everyone. Welcome to this month's interview. We are here with Braden and Chanello, who work with FBISD's Equity Coalition. So would you guys mind introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your organization?
Yeah, no problem. My name's Chanello Dike. I'm one of the co-founders for the FBISD Equity Coalition. The other co-founder, her name is Samiha Rizvi. So she's not here today, but Brayden and I are speaking on like the whole coalition's behalf. We started back out in like 2020, in the midst of all like the Black Lives Matter protests that were happening. Me and Samiha and a whole bunch of other alumni just kind of like linked up and were like, okay, like what do we do? Like what can we do to like make things better, like in our old school district? And then from there we just kind of like been building up and we have new members like in and out, but like we've learned so much as student organizers and stuff like that. And Braden's like, a really good example of one of our student organizers. So you can go ahead, Braden.
Yeah, sorry. Let me go ahead and fix that so I don't look bald as anything. Anyways, hi. My name is Braden Dodson. I have been an official member of the coalition, I want to say, since the beginning of 2021, I think, around there, give or take. I definitely started my work with the coalition right before the presidential election back in 2020. We had a series of posts. Basically just like we made a Google form and then we just kind of sent it out to people, and we had like how many responses, Joe? Like over
I think probably between 60 and 90, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was in the hundreds personally. Either way,
Yeah,
we had
so
a
I
lot of
think,
we had a lot of responses. So basically, we just like basically chose the top 5 responses for like policy choices that either the former president had or President Biden had, and just went from there and made posts about it. We had really high engagement with them. It was really cool. So yes, I'm currently the administrative director, so I kind of handle all the administrative stuff. So like your emails, your reaching out to certain people, X, Y, and Z. So yeah.
That's so interesting. And you touched a little upon how you guys do like posts. Would you mind expanding a little upon what exactly you guys do? Is it advocacy, engagement, things like that, just so everyone knows?
Yeah, no problem. So I think most of our post is like advocacy. Like it's a pretty wide range. Like we post like experiences that people have like gone through in the district, and that can also has a really wide range. So people can like talk about their experiences with like harsh dress code violations to like sexual assault and stuff like that. So we get a lot of experiences. I mean, we post that just so that we can raise awareness, because some people don't even know that these things are happening to their classmates in their schools and stuff like that. And so we post stuff like that. We also post, we have like, what's it called? Like what Braden was mentioning, we whenever like elections and stuff come up, we do try to like, what's the word? Voter registration, and making sure people are like updated with like what rights they have as voters. Cause especially like people fresh out of high school, like no one really knows like, oh, I'm supposed to vote, when you turn 18 and stuff like that. And then of course, also preparing those who aren't 18 yet to know a little bit more about the political process and stuff like that. So yeah, we post experiences, political organizing stuff. What else? We post other stuff. For example, like whenever like there's like a specific event. I know last year we posted a lot on Black History Month, Pride, just a little bit of everything, if I'm being honest. We did take a little bit of a break in October, and so now we're finally like we took like, of course, all of the coalition members are students. Some are in high school, some are in college. So like we needed time for ourselves to figure out stuff in our own personal lives. But now that we have a little bit more time, we're trying to figure out like what works best for us now. And so that whenever the semester starts, we know how to like push out a lot of like work and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it kind of
yeah, my bad.
No, you're fine. No, I was just here to build upon that. I know we also do a lot, not really a lot of the most like actual talking about like actual like policy issues, I would say, with kind of it was back like I mentioned earlier with the 2020 election and stuff. And even more recently, we made a post regarding the Texas Republican Party's like platform and just how overall regressive it is. Pardon me. And yeah, so I know we've also in the past made posts about like board candidates and stuff, candidates for the board, and just, getting people to get out and vote. And so in 2020, it was a lot easier to get people to go vote in that for those board members because it was on the same ticket as president, vice president, Congress, the whole nine. And of course, on this year, the election was back in May. So people don't really think about it because it's literally just local stuff. So people, for the majority of the country, they want to go vote for the big ticket items, which are, the president, which, of course, as we all know, the local stuff is arguably even more important because that has more of an immediate impact on people's lives.
Yes. And one thing I did forget to mention, like one of our biggest things that we wrote like a list of demands for Fort Bend ISD. So we're not affiliated with Fort Bend ISD. We try to work with them on trying to passing these demands, and they range from like changes in the curriculum, dress code, social services and security funding. So stuff like that. So that it's stuff that we like learned from those experiences that we collected. And then of course, like asking people around like, hey, like, what do you think you guys, what do you want from the district basically? So that's another big part of the coalition.
And I know a lot of people view Gen Z as a very politically active generation, but I know for me personally, a lot of times my school hosts walkouts or protests and things like that. A lot of people I know are kind of scared to engage in them because they don't want to get in trouble with the district. So what would you say to those people who maybe really do believe in the cause, but are a little scared to really be upfront about it and get involved with it?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, one of the things that we do want to focus on this summer is like what can students do basically. And I know like some people don't even know like what rights they have as students. They're like, oh no, like something's going to get taken away from me. But like students have freedom of speech. It is a little bit limited in schools, which we're researching into so that we can like provide that information to students so that they don't feel a little bit scared. And another thing is that another plus is that like half of the coalition, we are college students. So like we can do things on behalf of current students. So like stuff will happen regardless. We just hope that like more people gain the courage to like, step out and do it. Cause it is scary. We can't lie. Like even as an alumni, like it is pretty scary, like going up to these like, board members and stuff like that. Cause they still see all of us as kids, but like, I feel like my word of advice to people who are scared is that like, there's a lot of strength in community. You won't be the only one. It just takes one person for everyone else to come up.
For sure. And what would you say has been the most challenging part about starting your own organization? I know I try to really encourage people who watch these interviews to get involved, make an impact, whether it be joining an existing organization or making your own. So would you say it's been difficult to start up your organization and gain support, especially being not necessarily a controversial organization, but covers maybe more divisive topics?
Right. I feel like starting it, at least for us, was a little bit easy in a way because like we started in the midst of like everyone who was, a lot of people were angry for very right reasons, so like people were trying to feel that energy into action. So like we provided that like as we were like an outlet kind of. I would say that it's been hard to like help people keep the momentum going. And of course, like we're students ourselves, we have work and stuff like that. Like, how do we balance that? I think that's a question a lot of people do ask, like, how do we balance like doing this and that? You know what I mean? Like as I said in the, like before, we've had like kind of like new members and old members like in and out kind of, cause like some people need to take a break. Like we even have a member who had to take a step back for a month or two cause she's studying for the MCAT, you know what I mean? So just know that I feel like it is hard. I'm not gonna lie. It is hard, but like, again, there's strength in community. Like I can say like, hey, Braden, I can't do this. Can you do this? You know what I mean? And like, I can do something for him. Like, I feel like help is a really big part and what makes it, able to, what helps us like organize a little bit better. From an external view, it is hard, like, talking with board members and like getting people to take us seriously. Even outside of board members that we have been in, not conflict, we've interacted with like community members who don't agree with us, you know what I mean? Like we get called names a little bit. I remember like whenever we first started the coalition, we have like a Google form for people to submit their experiences, which is about like 400 experiences, right? And it's more coming in. And there's a couple that aren't really experiences. There'll be something like oh, not a death threat, but like a threat. Do you know what I mean? Good that I'm not alone. You know what I mean? Like I work with a group of amazing people and stuff like that. Braden, do you have anything to add? I don't want to take over.
Oh, no, you're all good. No, I was just regarding like, is it difficult? I guess for especially for the actual like Janella had mentioned, like talking with people to actually get the demands off the ground as like, get it away from just a, PDF and of just like, where it looks like a wish list almost to actually like, no, this can be policy that can be implemented. Definitely because like you said, it's almost like a legitimacy issue, almost borderline, where it's just like we are all former students, and I guess I could see the district having a basically, well, y'all are alumni, why do y'all care? But then it bleeds into a, how, hold on, we saw like a vested interest. Like, I mean, I have a younger sister who's about to go into high school. Chanello has two younger siblings who are still in high school. So it's like we still have a vested interest in the community, and not to mention we do still pay taxes in this community. So, we do help fund this endeavor. So it definitely is just like getting people to listen. And then regarding the prior point about the students and stuff, it is important to stress that the First Amendment does not end in the side of the school. Your right to protest peacefully and your right to freedom of speech, like as long as it's not a violent threat, they can't do anything to you. And that is backed up by Supreme Court precedent. We're not going to get into that though, but it is backed up by precedent, and it was set during the Vietnam War, and people were very amped up about that conflict. So, yes, I'll refrain.
And you guys kind of mentioned something that I wanted to bring up, which was keeping the momentum going. And I know it's really easy on social media to see the hashtag and repost whatever you see, and that's it. And people think you're an advocate just because you reposted something. So, what would you say to people who kind of have that base level engagement of just liking, reposting, doing it when it's popular, but don't really seek to be involved with it beyond the trend?
I also think that's another thing that we are trying to focus on this summer. Like, as I said before, like what can we do to like influence people to like start things on their own and stuff like that? Because I mean, again, we get it as students, like we have other things to worry about and stuff like that. Sometimes it's like all you can do is just repost something, but like I guess we're trying to like encourage people to like go beyond social media, like read a little bit about like certain like topics and stuff like that. And it doesn't always have to be something like, oh, like go get a book from the library or something like that. It can be something like you're in class and you're talking about civil rights, bring up Malcolm X, you know what I mean? Like, stuff, it's just small things like that. There's a whole bunch of different levels of advocacy and like what you can do to learn and stuff like that. But again, I do understand like everyone has a lot of stuff going on, but there's a lot of stuff we can do, again, strengthen community, But Braden, do you have anything to add? Go ahead.
I would honestly, when it comes to the I feel like people begin to feel powerless after a certain point, especially in regards to some of the Black Lives Matter movement, or especially now since Roe and Casey have been overturned by the Supreme Court, where it's like people feel powerless because they don't know what to do. Because at the end of the day, we don't have that direct political power to actually implement things. So all that we can do is just vote for people who think represent our values, and then hope that they do what we want them to do, but I guess that's just the beauty of living in our form of democracy. But anyway, so I feel like people just begin to feel powerless. But one thing is just like like the strength in community is definitely just a big factor, where it's like whenever there's enough people griping about, sorry, I use the word gripe because, from their view, it sounds like griping, but it's real things that we need to talk about. And if there's enough people talking about something and putting pressure on these elected officials, they will have to bend eventually. Like they can't just sit here and stay stagnant on and just sit here and not care, because, well, quite frankly, at the end of the day, we're the ones who gave them a job. And then we can also remove them from the job if we want to, come the next election cycle. So just definitely like not giving up the hope, like actually like talking to your elected officials and going to their offices, calling them, emailing them, like not harass them. Do not harass them because it will not look good, but forcefully speak to them in a polite way to, you know, be like, I deeply do care about this and I have all these people behind me and we really would, you know, we really want to see something done, you know?
And another, going off of that, like whenever people do like reposts and stuff like that, I feel like people also need to be reminded on like why they should be angry. So I think that's also another thing that helps people like keep the momentum going, basically.
Right.
And I talk a lot about voter registration on this platform because it's something I personally feel very strongly about. And I'm not of age to vote yet, but I assume you guys being in college maybe are. So what would you say to people looking at this and lack an interest in voting in local elections or don't really know where to start or where to even look to register to vote?
Braden, do you want to go ahead and start with that?
Yeah, sure. So what I would say is that it's definitely a fault of our education system, because even though they are mandated to actually tell seniors at high school, like I want to say it's definitely, it might be federal law, do not quote me on this, please, I do not really know, but I know that they are mandated to actually talk about this. But a lot of like, of course, whenever I was a senior in high school, I had that experience all online, and that kind of, I never received any, especially considering the first semester of my senior year was literally the climax of the 2020 election cycle. And I never saw a thing from the school district about like, hey, here's how to register to vote. And even if there was, it was kind of just like a, I don't even know if y'all still use this or not, but we had a Schoology, and it was like basically like a Schoology message at best. And it was like, well, like, girl, nobody reads this. Like, let's be serious here. But anyways, get back on track. So I would definitely say like find someone who you know actually knows about these things. I promise you there's at least one person in everyone's lives that knows a lot about the voter registration process and like has resources that they can send you, because like I want to say like votetexas.gov, I believe is the name of the website, but especially when Texas like Secretary of State's office, things like that. There's a thumbs up on my screen now. I don't know what that means. But anyways, yeah, so like we go to these websites to have this information. Now, once the election cycle comes around, you have, I want to say there's the one website that I know I use, and I've even shared with a Chanella before whenever we've had to go vote in like the primaries and whatnot. It's called a Ballotpedia, I believe.
Yeah.
And there, of course, this past election cycle, it was kind of shaky just because of reapportionment and stuff for all that fun stuff. But anyways, so stuff like that's very helpful because you can actually see who is going to be on your ballot, and even if like on the for those of y'all who live in Fort Bend County, you can actually find your precinct number and you can actually find your sample ballot like to the exact location, so that you'll know exactly who is going to show up. It is quite a bit of work because it's not as easy as it can be, but it's important just to know these things. And it's especially like I know come this election cycle and for the midterms and stuff, we will definitely have a lot of resources to be put out. So, you know, just even if you go to like a political party's Instagram, that you at least can know off the top of your head, they will have information on how to register to vote and how to go about voting, because, you know, that's half the reason why they're here, because they want to get voted in. So yes.
No, yeah, even going off of what Braden said, like, and then we've also like posted stuff in the past, like how to register to vote, what to look for in like the candidates you do want to vote for. Cause like, again, the coalition, we're nonpartisan. We try to like have all of our like information kind of like unbiased so that we can like provide as much information. So yeah, we have certain posts like that. And I agree with Braden, like it's at the fault of like our education system. We should be learning about that. I graduated in 2019 And I remember them giving us towards the end of the year like little like index cards, like saying like, oh, don't forget to register to vote. But I saw that in the hallway, on the hallway floors by the time I left. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's not, people don't realize how important it is. It's just one of those things in high school that like people don't, like, it's not taught to us basically. But yeah, I agree with Braden. Like, find someone that you know personally. It doesn't even have to be someone that you know like all the way. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you follow Braden on Instagram, like, and you know he posts a lot of stuff. Like, you can DM him. You know what I mean? Like, or again, like organizations like us, like we'll be posting stuff like that. And yeah, I feel like that'd be a good place to like start. Just at least starting is already a lot. So
For
Yeah,
sure.
because oh, sorry to interrupt. No, I was gonna say, because I can promise you that if you know someone who, like, because I know if anyone follows me on Instagram, they know that Instagram stories always got something on it. But like, typically, like, I promise you, like, if you even think that you know someone who always posts about this stuff, if you reach out to them, it's like, hey, I really wanted to register to vote. How do I do this? It will not offend them whatsoever. They will. I mean, like, if someone texted, DM'd me that, I would be ecstatic. I'd be like, oh my god, I'm glad. Like, let's go. And I would send them a whole list of resources and XYZ. So just like, you just don't feel shy about it. Don't feel awkward. Like, I promise you, like, all is well. So
For sure. And we also have a resources page on our website, and I'll be sure to include all the website you guys mentioned along with some other ones like the League of Women Voters and other stuff as well.
yeah,
cool.
totally.
And just to wrap up a little bit, do you guys have any membership officer positions for people looking to get involved with your organization? Or what advice do you have for just people in general who want to get involved a little more with their community?
So for specifically for our organization, we do plan on opening up applications. I want to say sometime in August. We're still trying to like make sure things are a little bit more stable. Not stable in terms of like, we have like a little bit more structure. You know what I mean? Like after like 2 semesters, like what can we do to make it better for like the fall semester, so it's not like any like overwhelming and stuff like that. So that's for us personally. I guess advice for like people who do want to get more involved. Again, all it takes is one person. You know what I mean? Like, you don't always have to wait for one person to start something. You can start something. You know what I mean? Someone will stand up with you. You know what I mean? And again, strengthen community. We've been repeating that a lot of times throughout the interview, but there really is a lot of strength in community. And just, it's like fight for what you believe in. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty like cliche, but like, you have every right to be angry. You just got to turn that anger into like action. Still be angry, but it has to go somewhere. Do you know what I mean? That's what I would say. Yeah. Braden, do you want to add anything? I don't want to.
Oh no, I'm just agreeing with you.
Okay. All right.
Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your perspective and telling us about your organization. I know I definitely appreciate all that you guys do, still being a Fort Bend ISD student. So
Thank you. And thank you for having us. This is great. Like, when we heard about it, we're like, oh my gosh, like, this is great. Thank you.
For sure.
of course, thank you guys so much.